Testing.
What's going on, New Gaming Order? We back for the final segment of the show. Uh, like I said, super short today. Uh, now I'm getting a little bit better with XSplit, but before you know, I'm gonna be doing some great things under Nelson's instructions. So, for those of you just joining us on YouTube, make sure you check out our other two topics where we're talking about the Nintendo Switch and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now that they're kind of confirming that the game will have a groove-like system in terms of how the stones will be utilized. So make sure you check that out. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. Shout out to Event Hubs. Shout out to Stone Fox Media and the other guys where I saw some of the news that kind of influenced like today's topics. But with that, you see it right here, okay? PlayStation boss, Blazing's funny. He's just like, wow. But right here, they're talking about this kind of rhetoric should not even be thrown around there out there like that. Because I was considering doing the PlayStation Pro later on, you know. Oh, and on the sidebar, Sony, after their landslide getting beat up on the MPDs in November, outsold the Xbox One S because we know a lot of that has to do with the PlayStation VR. And I called it. I said, watch, the VR is going to spike the sales. I think T-Risk even had anticipated that as well when we were talking way back when about that. So Sony saw success for November. The PlayStation VR is going to move systems, which we knew was going to happen. So congratulations to Sony. But when good news comes up, then you got some of this right here, So PlayStation boss doesn't rule out more PS4 Pro like incremental updates, but it won't be easy. I don't even want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Like, this was an unusual console generation to even have a mid-cycle upgrade because they were lagging behind with the lack of 4K support. Got it. If anything, this Sony, just think of the PlayStation 5. Don't do another mid-cycle upgrade or incremental like that because consoles aren't like cell phones, But unfortunately, it may be going that route. But going around the table, T-Risk, what are your thoughts? I hope they don't do something like this. I hope they're just talking out of their tailpipe with this. But if Sony were to do this, what's your response? Like, what was feedback?
Me again?
Yes.
Gosh, I can't hear you sometimes. Yeah, it just keeps cutting out.
You got a shitty headset then.
Alright, but to make this quick, yeah, I hope this isn't real. This would just be a waste of time. Unless that thing is secretly modular under the hood, it is a waste of time.
I don't think this thing just came out. The PlayStation Pro just came out. Like, why would they cut it at the knees like that?
It would be stupid. Just cut your losses. You're not going to do 4K this time.
Yeah, well, I guess if they did something like instead of doing checkerboard 4K and do true 4K, then maybe. But man, people are like already investing. Like, I don't think, and Microsoft was smart to not, do a knee-jerk reaction and put like a system out and then release a Scorpio after that. Like, that would be like kind of dumb. Like the One S, fine, you got that, there you go. But then again, Microsoft is guilty as well because you got the Xbox One S, but it's not an upgrade, so to speak. It's more like they added, the UHD Blu-ray support and 4K support. Got it. But they didn't do anything really under the hood. It's still an Xbox One. Okay, so
Right.
But as far as I don't even want to hear this rhetoric, but Nelson,
I don't want to hear it either.
yeah, Nelson, what are your thoughts?
This is a waste of time. Like, real talk. You just came out with a fucking console that's broken, doesn't work natively, and you don't update the shit, but you sitting there talking about, oh, we plan for the fucking future of Sony. We might release another PlayStation Pro, whatever the fuck they gonna call it, and charge you double the money because we could just do that. It just makes no sense. First off, people are still not ready for 4K gaming. I don't give a shit if you bought a 4K TV. There's no native 4K yet. So y'all need to get your shit together. Even PC doesn't have native 4K yet. So everyone is like not there. And two, you literally, again, you just released a fucking console. It hasn't even been like 3 months. And you really want to throw out another $400-$500 for something that's still not work with the previous thing.
I mean, you know what? I think it's just speculation. But this is just our thoughts on if they were to do it again. And here's the funny thing, you know, once they start doing this stuff and people are still buying it, guess what? They're going to continue. You know, speak with your wallets. If Sony ever did do something like this, Microsoft, if they did something like this, one thing I give Nintendo, you can't, I don't see them doing that with the Nintendo Switch anytime soon. You know, it's such virgin software, hardware, or a concept that I think that they're going to try to flesh that out because Nintendo doesn't seem to really be competing with anybody but themselves. You know, so it's like Sony and Microsoft are trying to one up each other left and right, and they're making some of these erroneous moves, and it's like, come on, like, just the mere thought of another system coming out is I think it's just dumb, But let me go back into Discord. Project Justice, what are your thoughts, if any, if Sony would even go this route?
I think they're gonna ruin people's trust in them, their integrity. You can't release a 4.5 system, a half system, and then talk about releasing another half system. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
The system needs a lot more work when it comes to patches and optimization because a lot of the older games are running like crap. Even though they went for a 1-to-1 ratio when it came to the GPU, because it's supposed to have 2 GPUs. It has the original and the new one. So there's like 100% compatibility with the 700 titles.
Yeah.
But yet the older games are still running really, really bad. Not all of them, but some of them are. So Sony needs to really get that together if they want people to keep trusting in them. They're going to have the same effect Sega had. Sega released a Genesis, a 32X, the Neptune, the CDX.
They cannibalized themselves pretty much.
Exactly. So by the time the Saturn came out, people were like, no thanks. So you got to really be careful on this line they're playing. That's the reason why Nintendo doesn't do these things. Even with the Wii U being, their worst selling system of all time, they still waited 5 years. They still came out with the games. They still supported it to show people, yes, we screwed up, but we're not abandoning you. So Sony needs to do the same thing, especially if you're doing system refreshers like the Sony Pro. So I mean, I don't even want the Pro, and so
well, here's the thing. For I know you are primarily a FGC guy. You know, what benefits does the Pro have for a fighting game? There's no fighting game that is in 4K, so to speak, yet, or that's gonna even utilize that until, like, I guess the next wave of titles.
I mean, they could, if Capcom wanted to, or Sony, they could patch Street Fighter 5 and make it 4K.
But
they can't do that.
Well, here's the thing. No.
They can.
Sony said they wouldn't stop.
They can.
They wouldn't stop third-party developers from charging for that.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's when it comes down to it's money. So are they willing to spend the money and give it for free? I don't think so. So I can see maybe Sony and Capcom releasing it, because they do need to relaunch Street Fighter. Street Fighter 5 has to be relaunched. If Capcom expects better sales down the line, they need to do a relaunch.
Well, yeah, they messed up from the get-go.
Yeah, so if you do a relaunch, you should add the 4K compatibility. for the Pro and all the other bells and whistles, and make a complete package, because there's rumors going around right now that they're planning to do a season 2, not only a season 2, a part 2 to the story of the original cinematic story.
That's smart.
And it's smart because it would end with you battling Gil, which could then give you a proper arcade mode option for you to play like the original, like in the arcade, and have Gil as the last boss. And I think that would be a great relaunch if you did that.
You know what?
Without
going too far into Street Fighter land, Brother Natural, who watches our show, made a good point that maybe they can go beyond Street Fighter 3, and timeline wise. And since the next set of characters are gonna be all brand new, this would be a good time to introduce new people into the Street Fighter universe. That will be a separate podcast, maybe for tomorrow or during the week, talking about, should Capcom have gone the route of just doing completely new characters, because part of it kind of kills hype for me. But you want some of the returning people, like Capcom. Listen to your fans. They're asking for Sagat, they're asking for, I'm asking for Blanca. I mean, have a healthy balance. Like, don't just do a whole thing like that, but it's whatever. But I guess we're gonna start wrapping up. Any final words, starting with T-Risk?
Nah, I got that this week.
Okay. Nelson?
My final words, if for anything, with 4K, you're not going to be able to do it. Not with any current games, not even with an update, not even with a patch. Mm-hmm. It's no point, because anyone who's smart enough to know that 4K puts a lot of intensive stress on any system, even the PC, and it only goes to natively 30 seconds, and if it does frame clip, it'll go to 20 frames, so nah, it's not good. Just don't waste your fucking money on the 4K TV, unless if you're using it only for TV shows. That's the only thing that it's optimized for, not for gaming.
Mm-hmm. Okay. To answer Blazing's question, he's like, do you think Sony sweating bullets over the Scorpio? Yes, because the engineer for the PlayStation 4 Pro was just like, yeah, it can do 8 teraflops, but when you really break down what he said, it's like, no, you're just spreading it from 32 to 16-bit computations type stuff. So
when it comes to the 4K, the PS4 Pro is doing something that the PC is not doing at all. It's called checkerboarding.
We're fully aware.
Yeah, and that checkerboarding is impressive. It's really smart programming. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you are getting 4K.
Not native.
It's not. But true the thing 4K.
But it's not true 4K, because 4K is 2160p, and it's checkerboarding between that to 1800p to 1600p. So you're in the 4K family. It's not. It's like dynamic resolution basically, but it's checkerboarding the resolution. Mm-hmm. So that's what's happening. So I mean, and you can't have 4K on PC, but it's all upscale. Nobody's doing natively games. Some games are 4K natively, but for you to run that, you need like $1,000 GPU. Like you need like the NVIDIA 1080, 1080. Like you need like high, Titan XZ, whatever. It's just
Titan on steroids type stuff. So.
It's just too expensive right now. It's just, and I'm happy at 1080p. Right now on my PC I game 1080p, but I play at ultra settings because I have a R9 290, so I can run most things at 60 frames a second at full settings. Nice. And I'm happy with that. What I do is I have my PC connected to my television, so whenever I want to play on a 50-inch HD TV, I just zap it over, send the signal over there. So for me to be interested in a Pro, it just makes no sense. There's no incentive to get a Pro.
All right. So with that New Gaming Order, make sure you rate, comment, subscribe. Check us out on newgamingorder.com for the latest and greatest. I want to thank the staff that came together on short notice. Now I gotta take care of my queen, my lady. Gotta handle some business. But if anybody else wants to do any sort of streaming or wants to help me and Nelson on main staff in terms of providing a block of time, please hit me and Nelson up, and I'll have the intermission screen at the end after the outro. But thank you guys very much again, and we will see you guys next time on the New Gaming Order podcast show. Should be slated for next Saturday, but should be having random things throughout the week. So that's all I got for you. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Full screen.